Good morning, students. This is Yamini going to take your bio lecture. As you know that the outside there is a corona pandemic. That is why we cannot move here and there. We have to stay home. We have to be safe and we have to be healthy, right? So our society decided that you should not waste your time or important months according to your board exam. We have to conduct your online lectures so that it will be easier to you to study at home, right? So today I'm going to discuss firstly with you the syllabus of the biology. Here you can see I have written the complete topics. So in last year there was the 19 topics, so instead of 19 in this year you will have 15 topics, right? So there are 15 topics. First topic start with the reproduction in lower and higher plants. Second will be the reproduction in lower and higher animals. Third topic will be the inheritance and variation. Fourth is molecular basis of inheritance. Fifth, origin and evolution of life. Sixth, plant water relation. Seventh, plant growth and mineral nutrition. 8, respiration and circulation. 9, control and coordination. 10th, human health and diseases. 11th, enhancement of food production. 12th, your biotechnology. 13 will be organisms and populations. 14, ecosystem and the energy flow of the same. 15, biodiversity conservation and different environmental issues. Okay, I'm hoping that you all have got the PDF of the same textbook. Okay, so we are going to start the first topic, that is reproduction in lower and higher plants. So I have made the notes so that you can easily pause the video and you can write if you want to write it down. Okay, so first topic is your reproduction in lower and higher plant. So in your last year, in your 11th, we have done the morphology of flowering plant, that is nothing but the angiosperm. In that we have cleared or we have done some basics related to the reproduction. Now you know the reproductive organ for the flowering plant. If we go with its type, that is sexual type of reproduction. Okay, so first question comes here, what is actually the reproduction is. Okay, so the reproduction is what? Production of young ones like their parents are nothing but the reproduction, right? So what is the necessity of this reproduction? What is the role? Why it is important to organism to get reproduced for their continuation of life, or you can say the species, right? So the necessity of reproduction is for continuation of species. Okay, so in your PDF, in your textbook, they have given the two types of reproduction, that is asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Okay, so I have made the comparison reasoning point of asexual reproduction as well as the sexual reproduction, right? So I'm hoping that you all can see it and you can pause it if you want to write, right? So first point in asexual reproduction is what? It is the without fusion of two compatible gametes. Okay, two compatible gametes are nothing but the female gamete as well as male gamete. But in case of asexual reproduction, there is no fusion of this two gametes. But in case of sexual reproduction, you will get the fusion of two compatible gamete. You will find out the fusion of two compatible gamete, that is male and female gamete. Second point of asexual reproduction is what? It will produce genetically identical progeny. We can call it as what? Clones. They are exactly identical, they are genetically identical, that is why we are calling it as clone. But whereas in sexual reproduction, we will not get the genetically identical offsprings, where they are genetically dissimilar offsprings. So here the variation is the key point. right? In asexual reproduction, it is uniparental. Only one parent is required for this type of reproduction. But in case of sexual reproduction, the two parents are required. Okay, that is male and female. Next, asexual reproduction occurs in unicellular as well as multicellular organism, but the sexual reproduction occurs only in multicellular organism, right? So they have given the types of this asexual reproduction. You have done in your since your 8 till your 11th, right? Again the same you are having in your 12th. Okay, so first type of asexual reproduction is what? Fragmentation. Second is budding. Third one is a spore formation, and other types of asexual reproduction which happens in the animals. Okay, so first is what? Fragmentation. So fragmentation, the example, best example for the fragmentation is what? Spirogyra. Okay, it is a multicellular organism, and the breakage of this in this organism is nothing but the fragmentation due to one or other reason is known as what? Fragmentation, right? So I have made the small diagram over here. So this is the parental Spirogyra. Due to the fragmentation, they will get the two progenies which will act as a individual, right? Next is what? Next is budding. It is the most common method of sexual reproduction, and it happens in a unicellular organism, right? Now it requires a favorable condition for the budding. So here this is the mother cell. If it get the favorable condition, then it will what we can say, it will produce one or more outgrowths, that is birds, right? If it is get the favorable condition, then only it will produce other birds. So these are the chain of birds. From one mother cell, it will produce the chain of birds under the favorable conditions only. So the example of this is what? Yeast. Okay, next type of asexual reproduction is spore formation. So they have given the example of Chlamydomonas. Okay, and for these type of asexual reproduction, it requires the flagella. Okay, that is why I have wrote here important structure is flagella. Okay, so in your textbook, that is figure 1.2, they have given the zoospores in Chlamydomonas. Okay, so asexual reproduction occurs by flagellated. These are the motile zoospore. I have made only one zoospore over here, and zoospore which can grow independently into the new individual. Okay, next other type of asexual reproduction, they have given the binary fission, conidia formation, gemule formation, which we are going to deal in the next topic, that is reproduction in lower and higher animals. Okay, but I have written the example of the same. Binary fission happens in amoeba, conidia formation happens in penicillium, gemule formation you can find in sponges, right? Now they have given the small activities out once you have complete these points. So they have given the activity, you have to write it down as for your homework. Okay, so next important topic, you can say it as under the asexual reproduction only, that is the vegetative propagation. You heard this term, okay, you know this term. Okay, that is what actually it is. Vegetative propagation means through their vegetative parts. Now what are the vegetative part? If we take an example of potato, then the eye of potato will be act as a vegetative part. Okay, so that is why with the help of this vegetative part, the new plant formed, and are that new plant is what? It is identical to their parents. Okay, that is why it comes under the asexual reproduction. Okay, so there are also few methods which would not occur naturally in the plants. So that is why the agriculture and horticulture exploit this method for the multiplication of fresh plant stock. Okay, so this vegetative propagation is nothing but the artificial method to multiply the plant stock. Okay, so they have given the types of for that. So the cutting, grafting and tissue culture. Okay, so the cutting means what? Small vegetative part with the bird, it's get cut and it is planted onto the another plant. Okay, so they have given the diagram, that is figure 1.2. You can refer it, that is grafting in rows. They have shown onto the page number 2. So in that, so one is act as scion and another is act as stalk. Okay, so that scion and stalk are grafted on each other. So that second type is what? Grafting. That is two plants are joined. Okay, so in the cutting part you can find out the types, that is stem cutting, leaf cutting and root cutting. So stem cutting is happening in, they have given the example for rose. Leaf cutting में आएगा sansevieria, root cutting में आएगा blackberry. Okay, next is grafting. I have told you that scion is what? The grafting part with a bird. Okay, और stalk क्या होगा? Rooted part plant. Okay, so example they have given in a textbook that apple, pear and rose both are vegetative propagation happens in the type is what? Grafting type. Okay, third one is what? Tissue culture. Very much important topic. It is also called as what? Micro propagation. Okay, so the whole plant you can what we can say, we can develop or we can produce in the laboratory condition, but for that we have to require maintained conditions like temperature, light and medium as for nutrition. Okay, so these are what? These are the vegetative propagation types. Okay, now one question they have given, why does gardener choose to propagate plant asexually? Okay, you have to find out the answer. You have to find it out and write it down in your notebook. You will share this homework to on the respected group of your class and I'll check it out, right? Next is a sexual reproduction. We have done the some basic part in your 11th. So directly you have to do the activity that which is given on the page number 2. That is you have to label the parts of flower in the given diagram. Okay, so the question and activity you have to solve it, and after that you will going to share it on the respected group, right? Now we are directly moving on to the next topic, that is structure of anther. Okay, in last time in the last PPT you have seen the slide, that is the anther is bilobed. So this is the bilobed anther. Okay, I'm hoping that you are remembering the important essential whorl of the male and female flower. Okay, so the pollen, or this is the pollen sac, or this is the anther you can call. It is what? It is diathecous, or you can call it as bilobed. Okay, so why it is diathecous? These are the two lobes. This is one lobe and this is second lobe, right? So that is why we are calling it as bilobed structure of anther, or you can call it, the second term is diathecous. Okay, if you take a transverse section of it, okay, you will find out this kind of structure. Okay, so this is what? Tetrasporanginate. Okay, what is sporanginate? Okay, so sporanginate is nothing but this is a sac the sac is known as what? Sporangium. Inside the sac, inside the sporangium, you will find the spore. That is why we are calling it as tetrasporanginate. You will find a tetra, that is 4 sacs, 4 sporangium. Inside that 4 sporangium, spores can formed or spores can produced. Okay. Now, anther is what? Anther is diathecous or bilobed, you can say, and it is what? It is tetrasporanginate. That is 4 sporangium sacs are there, or 4 sporangiums are there. Right. So I have made the diagram, the explanation, the theoretical part, it is given in a textbook, but I have made the diagram. So the first diagram is what? It is showing the epidermis. Right, it is showing the epidermis, and this is the archisporangial cells. What I am saying it is archisporangial cells, which again formed into the archisporangial cell. Okay, so they have given the statement that the heterogeneity arise when some hypodermal cells get transformed into the archisporial cells. Okay, so this is what? This is epidermis. Inside the epidermis there is what? Hypodermal cell, and these hypodermal cell is transformed into the archisporangial cells. Okay, so these cells get transformed into the archisporangial cells. Right. Now, again they are transformed into the first sporanginous cells. So you can find it this. I have made the dots. Okay, hopefully you will differentiate it. These outer cells are known as what? Parietal cell, and this is what? This is first sporogenous cells. Again it will get transformed into the complete structure, that is the TS of anther, that is TS stands for transverse section of anther. Here you can see the epidermis is as it is. Inside the epidermis there is an endothecium. Inside the endothecium, if you see the archisporangial cell, the covering of archisporangial cell which is made in the red color, it is nothing but the tapetum. Okay, inside the tapetum you will find the spore mother cell, and inside the spore mother cell you will find the spores. Okay, so they have used, or they have written the one concept over there, that is a microsporogenesis. So what is the microsporogenesis? It is the formation of pollen grains. Okay, microsporogenesis. Spore is related to pollen grains. So MMC, that is nothing but the microspore mother cell forms the meiotic division, and after the meiosis the haploid microspore, that is pollen grains, are formed. Okay, so hopefully you can correlate this topic to the spermatogenesis, so hopefully you can easily cleared with it. Okay, so next structure is about the structure of microspore, that is nothing but the pollen grain. Right. So what is the pollen grain? Pollen grain, see this is diagram. So outer covering is there, inner covering is there, internal cytoplasm is there, and nucleus is there. Okay, so outer covering is known as what? Exine. The inner covering is known as what? Intine. Both are from the sporoderm layer, that is sporoderm, that is pollen grain layer. That is why we are using the words sporoderm. Inside it the cytoplasm is there and the nucleus is there, and these are the openings, that is we can call it as germ pore, through which the pollen tube can formed. Right. Now it is what? It is non-motile, it is haploid, it is unicellular. Exine is made up of sporopollenin, and intine is made up of pectin and cellulose. Okay, so I'll request you all to write it down, all the notes what I have made for you. It will easier for you. And if you have any doubt, you can club your questions, you can send to one student and they can post it on the group, so that I can clarify your doubts, I can solve your questions hopefully. And we will stop over here, and we will continue this topic in the next lecture. Stay home, stay safe, stay healthy.